What's going on, YouTube? This is your old buddy Big Rob here with another episode of Big Rob's House of Entertainment and no Chinese food. I would like to begin this episode like I need to begin every episode. I want to begin this episode with a huge shout out and a huge thank you to the Clady clan at the Zone Collectables and Spotlight Media. You can find them at 305 Main Street in Tifton, Georgia. You can find them online at The Zone Collectables on Facebook or thezonecollectables@gmail.com. Visit them for all your nerdy needs. Whether you're into trading cards or comic books or action figures or Barbie or Lego or Monster High or Hot Wheels or pop vinyl, D&D, Warhammer, model kits, board games, whatever you like, go by and see them. They've probably got something that you want, probably have a lot of stuff that you want, and definitely got some stuff that you need. So go by and give them a shout, give them some love if you get a chance. Tell them Big Rob says hey when you do, as without them, Big Rob Show would not exist as it is. So thank you so very much, you guys. So today is a beautiful sunny day in South Georgia. The birds are chirping. It's lovely outside today, and it's Mother's Day. So I would like to take just a moment here to recognize our mothers. Thank y'all so much. And if your mother is still with you and you haven't said thank you and I love you and happy Mother's Day to your mother yet, pause this video right now, pick up your phone or go in the other room or take a trip down the highway and let your mama know just how much you love her, because she gave up a lot for your stupid self. I know my mom did, because I've met me. You know, mothers are absolute workhorses. They're up generally before everybody else in the house. Most of the time they don't get to bed till after everybody else is asleep, and they're working constantly. They never get thanked properly. Even on Mother's Day, which is the day they shouldn't have to lift a finger, usually they got to clean up whatever crazy, ridiculous idea that you had to start with for them. So there is nothing that we can't do that will be enough for mothers. We love y'all. I myself would like to say happy Mother's Day to my mom, happy Mother's Day to my sister, happy Mother's Day to my grandma, happy Mother's Day to my stepmom. I love y'all, and I know y'all don't watch my show very much, so I don't know why I'm saying it. Y'all probably never see it, but that's okay. So, but anyway, mother's love is unconditional. No matter how much we screw up, how much stupid stuff we do, your mother is always going to love you, usually. Take me. I've got a face that only a mother could love. But she asked me not to say that out loud, so I apologize. I probably have to edit that back out because, you know, I don't want her to have to fess up to that at all. Mothers are the nurturers. They make you feel better when you've been hurt. They make you cheer you up when you're feeling down. And, you know, most of the time the dad was the disciplinarian in the house, and the mom's the one that make you feel more safe and stuff like that. But my mom had like a martial artist degree in her background, and usually she was the one that beat us. And I say us loosely because I'm pretty sure my sister never got a whooping in her life. I got most of them. I don't really know how, because I thought I was a pretty good kid. I don't know. Mom did a pretty good job. She did her best raising us. Obviously, she did a better job with my sister than me, because my sister didn't start a YouTube channel to get validation from people on the internet. Yeah, I hope Mom doesn't watch this episode. I'm going to be in trouble. I may not make it to the next episode because I may be dead. So, what's going on in Big Rob's world? I have found out that I am apparently at that age where I'm not a dad, thankfully, but I have started to enjoy dad things, because I've noticed that when I'm scrolling YouTube now, I used to stop for the latest video game announcements or new movie trailers, which I still do, but I also find that I stop and I watch. There's this several different YouTube channels of guys cutting grass, and they specialize. There's several of them. Look, just Google it or YouTube search it. That these guys will find these people's houses that their yards are just completely overgrown, and usually it's like an elderly and or disabled person that can't get out and cut their own grass, and so they'll offer to cut this person's yard for free, and they'll video it and time lapse it and put it on YouTube. And I have found myself recently in the last few months stopping and spending upwards of 15 to 20 minutes watching these things, absolutely mesmerized by the transformation of these lawns. And I'm not gonna lie, whenever they bring out the edger and they edge the sidewalk and it goes from this pile of this encroaching grass to this nice crisp straight line, I get really excited. And I shouldn't. I didn't think so, but I guess I'm getting old. That's the only thing I know of. But it is exciting to me because I'm that age. I have not started watching the Weather Channel yet because I don't have like regular TV. You know, I just stream like most everybody else. But if I had Weather Channel, I'd probably watch it too, just to see. Anyway, so I've been doing some deep dives on some movie reviews here in the past several weeks. Just a way to kind of bring to light some older movies usually that maybe you have never seen or maybe you have never even heard of, but I think are pretty good movies. Sometimes I find out that I'm wrong. Sometimes I find out that the movie I thought was really good is not, or didn't stand the test of time. Sometimes I watch a movie that's older and I find out, yeah, it's still awesome. You know, we talked about Return of the Jedi, and I know that's everybody's heard of Return of the Jedi, but it was still amazing. 30 years later, I'm still loving it. 40 years later. I don't know why I said 30 years. 40 years later. Time flies. I am getting way old. Okay, so anyway, this week I watched a movie, was recommended to me by Dad. He apparently loves this movie and the series that it has spawned. I feel like I had probably seen this in the past, but probably like when I was a kid or something, because certain aspects of it were familiar, certain things weren't. So the movie I watched this week was called They Call Me Trinity. It is the first in a series. It was released in 1970 in Italy and 1971 here in America. It is a spaghetti western, but it's a little different. It's a comedy spaghetti western. The spaghetti westerns were Americanized westerns, but they were filmed in Italy and Spain, and so they were a little bit different than like the cowboy movies that we had. Probably the most famous, the one that kicked it off for a lot of people, was Fistful of Dollars with Clint Eastwood's Man with No Name. So if you know that movie or any of those kinds of movies, that's what I'm talking about. It's a lot of violence, a lot of quirkiness, almost superhuman main characters. But the Trinity movies, and They Call Me Trinity was kind of the first one, took that and twisted a little and made it funnier. So it's kind of violent, but it's comedy violence, slapstick more than anything, kind of almost like Three Stooges-ish, but in a good way. Look, I like the movie, okay? I'll throw that up for it. I enjoyed it. The movie's older than I am, very old, but I still enjoyed it. You can get the DVDs, Amazon, probably Walmart.com, eBay, I'm sure. But if you don't want to buy the DVDs, if you just want to watch it, you can watch it on the Tubi app. Tubi has They Call Me Trinity. The second movie, which was My Name Is Still Trinity or something like that, I think. And then the third movie, the official third movie, was Trinity and Bambino, or Sons of Trinity. All of these movies had multiple names for some reason, which is why I can't really remember the second movie's name right off. Terrence Hill plays the main character Trinity, and Bud Spencer plays his brother Bambino. They are known as the right hand of the devil and the left hand of the devil. And you find out eventually the devil is their mom, who runs a whorehouse down in New Orleans. So take that for what you will. There's 3 official movies in the series. There are tons and tons and tons of movies that are associated with this or similar to this. Some of them even have Terrence Hill and Bud Spencer. This is like their 4th movie that they were collaborated on. And they went on to do a bunch of movies together. There's a lot of movies that's been renamed with Trinity to capitalize on this one, that didn't officially have anything to do with it originally. So there's a little back and forth as to how many actual movies are in this series, but the general consensus, that the guy that wrote it, directed it, produced it, whatever, and these 2 guys as the stars, or their sons, Hollywoodish sons, is those 3 movies. They Call Me Trinity, My Name Is Still Trinity, and Sons of Trinity. So, like I said, there's a ton more. There's a ton of movies similar to this. They're widely available. Like I said, Tubi, I'm sure you can rent it on Google Play or Amazon if you want to. If you want to pay money that you don't have to pay, if you don't want to watch the ads, or you can find it on DVD. Basically, the gist of the movie, Trinity is a gunslinger. He has superhuman fast reflexes to be able to draw his weapon. And Bambino is his brother, who is also pretty much just as fast, but he's also this big, burly, ugly dude that likes to beat people up when he needs to. Bambino is a horse thief. He's got a gang. Trinity is a shiftless layabout who he can't even be an outlaw right, for the most part. The movie starts out, and the movie posters show this, a lot of the promotional stuff. In the desert, a horse is walking, it's dragging a travois, and Trinity is asleep on the back of the travois. And then the horse is walking through the desert, goes through a creek, and just here or there, comes up on a way station, and the horse stops. Trinity gets up, wakes up, shakes the sand out of his hair, puts his boots on, straps his gun on, and goes inside. Inside, there's a couple of bounty hunters with a injured Mexican man, and of course the proprietors of the way station. Trinity orders some beans and proceeds to eat this huge pan of beans, which kind of look good, but according to Trinity, weren't that good. I was just hungry when I watched this, maybe, I don't know. Anyway, so Trinity takes the injured Mexican man away from the bounty hunters, walks outside, gets on his horse, throws the injured Mexican onto his travois, and starts to leave. And the 2 bounty hunters go for their guns, and before they can really even clear leather, he has done pulled his pistol and shot both of them through the window of the way station and put his gun back in the holster and just keeps plodding along like no big deal. I mean, he is fast. They show up in this small town where there's this dude sitting on the front porch of the sheriff's station reading a newspaper, and 3 guys out in the street, and they're telling the sheriff that they want their friend released from jail, and he refuses. And Trinity just kind of pulls up and sits on his horse and watches. The sheriff puts his paper down to reveal it's Bambino, and he guns down the 3 men again. Supernatural fast reflexes on his firearm. And after he does, he kind of gives Trinity a little crap, like, you didn't help me. And Trinity's like, there's only 3 of them, dude. And you find out that they're brothers. So anyway, he asked Bambino what he's doing. And so Bambino tells the story that he had actually broken out of prison and was on his way west. And there was somebody following him, or he thought was following him. And he ambushed him and shot him. And they found out that he wasn't actually following him, that he was just going the same way. And find out that it was the new sheriff for this town. And he didn't kill him, but he injured him. He shot his leg. So Bambino comes onto the town and poses as the sheriff because he's waiting on his 2 henchmen for his horse thieving gang to get there. And while he's doing it, he's just, kind of chilling around the town. All right, so that's cool. So then you find out that there's this guy named Major Harriman, and he's a royal D-bag, and he's got this herd of prime horses that have been unbranded. They are just good horses, and he wants to graze them in this big, beautiful valley where a group of Mormons have already started setting up a homestead. They're building houses and they're grazing their cattle. And of course, they're Mormon pacifists, and they're like, hey, you're welcome to have your horses here, and we'll have our cows, and, because there's plenty of room, and, it's all good. And Major Harriman doesn't want to do that because he's a greedy scumbag. At the same time, you have these Mexican banditos who show up to mess with the town, or with the Mormons, and they come in and they generally cause mayhem and destruction, and they're very much caricatures of Mexican bandits, and it's pretty funny, but really really not cool in this day and age, which makes me think it's really, really funny. I just enjoy that kind of stuff. Anyway, so to kind of summarize, because it's a lot of silliness, a lot of funniness, some good storyline, decent storyline, but the Banditos and Major Harriman, they join forces to run the Mormons out, and Trinity falls in love with these 2 Mormon sisters, so he convinces Bambino to help him. Yeah. So Bambino, seeing that he's got to do this anyway, he sees these horses as his chance to get a little for himself because he's a horse thief. His henchmen finally show up, and they steal a bunch of the guy's horses, and they go and they teach the Mormons how to fight. The Mormons don't want to fight. They're pacifists. They, believe that the Lord will take care of them. They live by faith, which is good and all, but it doesn't really work in the Wild West. So, anyway, the Banditos and Major Harriman and all his men, they ride up into the settlement in this big final battle, and while Tobias, the leader of the Mormons, is reading from the book of Ecclesiastes, the Beatitudes, I believe, he does read the line that there is a time for fighting. And he tells all of his men this. And so the Mormons all start actually fighting back against the Banditos and Major Harriman's men. And it's just a big, there's no gunplay. They got rid of the guns. So they're all just fist fighting. And it's some hilarious stuff. There's a couple of wonderful pile drivers, some donkey kicks, just some really slapstick fighting. It's hilarious, I think. It's really good stuff. The end, they win against the bad guys and they send them on. Bambino goes to collect his horses, only to find out that they've now been branded with the 10 Commandments on the horse's flank, which is the Mormon's brand, and finds out that his brother Trinity gave the Mormons all the horses in recompense for all the damages that happened during the fight and the bad guys. So Bambino gets mad at Trinity. Trinity's okay, sorry. And Trinity decides he's going to stay and marry these two Mormon sisters. Bambino and his gang, they're headed to California. And then Trinity finds out that if he's going to stay and be a Mormon, that he actually has to work for a living. So he runs after Bambino. Bambino tells him, look, you can't follow me. I'm going to California. You got to go the other way. He's ready to kill him, what have you. So Trinity stops and waits, and Bambino and his crew keep going. And this guy rides up that's in a carriage with a horse, and he says, hey, did you see these 3 guys that jumped me? And so shows the wanted posters, and it's Bambino and his guys who had jumped him. It's the rightful sheriff for the town. And of course, Trinity points him in the direction that Bambino went. So the sheriff rides off after Bambino and his henchmen, and Trinity takes his boots off, unbuckles his gun belt, lies down on his voice, and gets his horse moving, and he follows them. They're all headed to California. And that's the movie. Like I said, I thought it was really funny. If you like westerns, spaghetti westerns, and comedy, you will probably enjoy it. It's really goofy, slapstick. It is not a serious movie. If you're more of a fan of Clint Eastwood or something like that, maybe you'll like it, maybe you don't like it, but it's very lighthearted, it's very funny. There's very little profanity, there's no blood, there's no, it's not a real risque movie, pretty much. But like I said, watch it on Tubi, check it out somewhere else. If you've never seen this movie, but you do like westerns, you probably know the theme song, because this is just kind of a trivia. At the end of Django Unchained, as the end of it, when Jamie Foxx turns around right before the credits roll, the theme music that plays is the theme from Trinity. Quentin Tarantino put that in because he put in all the homage to a lot of old school westerns when he did Django Unchained. So I just thought that was really neat too. But anyway, I'll probably get around to watching the other 2 movies in the series, and maybe a few of the others that are similar of this. I don't know if I'll do a review on those or not, but I'll probably get around to watching them because I did enjoy it well enough. I don't really assign letter scores or number scores. I just tell you if y'all like it or not, and tell you if I enjoyed it. And I enjoyed this one. That's about all I've got for this week. It's been a quiet week. Not really traveling right now, which is nice. I'm getting to stay around home. I enjoy that. But I will be back next week, hopefully. Until then, please go check out my friends Hassel and Monster at the Nerdy Man Room Show. You can find them on YouTube at the Nerdy Man Room Show. You can find them all over social media. I will put their details up on the screen because I don't remember them all that well. You can also find Hassel does reviews of movies and action figures and sometimes food and other stuff. On Hassel's Review, I can't talk today. That's also on the Nerdy Man Room Show's YouTube channel. Check them out. And one more time, I wanted to give a shout out to the Zone Collectables, 305 Main Street, Tifton, Georgia. The Zone Collectables on Facebook. TheZoneCollectables@gmail.com. They are really good people, and they will hook you up with some really awesome swag for a really, really good price. But if you're new to the channel, I appreciate you. If you've been with the channel for a while, I really appreciate you. If you enjoyed what you're seeing, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell if you want to be notified when I drop new videos, which is usually every Sunday. Leave me a comment, leave me a question, leave me a complaint, leave me a recipe for some really good chili, because I need to learn how to make a really good chili, and I'd like to know how you make yours. But I reckon that's it. May the force be with y'all.